I'll start this thing from a word of advice actually, because over the period of time, I have made some really good friends actually.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're like virtual friends. I do not know anyone in real life. Okay, I know two people in real life who work in games industries actually.
Okay,
So,
nice.
okay, caveat one, I'm going to frame this question. I'm going to frame my answer from the perspective of game development market in India,
Okay.
our country. There's no
Mm-hmm.
point in talking about EA or Ubisoft or Rocksteady, because none of those companies have any meaningful development in India. So either way, you will be joining something like Moonfrog Studios or something like Desi Games. Yeah, by the way, there's a company called Desi Games out there. And here's the thing about game development in India. There is no quality game development in India. It does not exist. All of the
Mm-hmm.
game development companies in India, they are in the business of making Android games. These Android games happen to be cheap clones of either Ludo King or some kind of fairy tale games out there.
Okay.
Keeping that thing in mind, as again making an assumption that you are interested in working in real game industry. If you already have a decent job in software industry out there, do not switch to game development industry. Just don't. It's one of the worst industries as a developer, as an artist, where you can work from.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy work hours, really crazy work hours, and on par pay in international circles. So this advice really applies to the people who happen to have a good position in their current jobs actually. Crazy
Okay.
work hours, difficult, very difficult job out there. The nature of game development is difficult. However, the pay is pretty much more or less in the same ballpark as a Java dev, more or less out there.
Okay.
That's the harsh reality. All right, fine. You want to do this thing for the sake of learning. You want to learn this thing, and maybe at some point of time you want to start your own game thing out there. From that perspective, I can actually have some insights, because that is my personal plan in the long run. I do not want to write software as a service. I do not want to write a fucking app or a fucking website or Google Cloud or AWS for the rest of my life. I'm good at it, but in no means I am not passionate about this thing. And if you think that you are passionate about cloud, with due respect, please reevaluate your life choices.
Okay.
Now, I know that I have offended some people out there, but hey, that's my take on it. Now, coming to the actual question with these caveats out there.
Right.
You want to learn game development? Well, I myself have been doing learning game development for close to a year now, as of now past. So I can actually put in my 2 cents. If you are a developer out there, the first thing which you should do actually, even before touching any kind of game engine, be it Unreal or Unity or whatever, pick up 3JS. three.js. 3JS is a JavaScript framework which runs completely in your browser. You would not need NVIDIA. If you have, it's great. If you have AMD graphic card, it's great. If you don't have any of that, no problems, it will work. So the barrier of entry in terms of hardware it just goes away when you work with the browser out there. All modern browsers with the integrated graphic cards with Intel graphics processor, generally in your laptop or your desktop, they're sufficient for this thing. But if you are going for something like Unity or Unreal Engine, yeah, in order to do anything meaningful out there, you would be needing a pretty beefy graphic card actually. Now,
Okay.
keeping that thing in mind, learn the basics first, and I believe this advice goes for anything you ever want to do in your life. What are the basics when it comes to game development? Well, here's the thing. Basic number one is event driven program. If you're not very good at it, get some basics going. Asynchronous programming, multi-threaded programming. Okay. After that, pick a course on Udemy. Keep it small. Keep either do with 3J. So this is once you have done your initial understanding of graphics, of shaders, of inputs and outputs and all of those things, and game loop and the game world and game scene. You've done your basics in 3JS. Pick a game engine which is easier to work. I would recommend Godot. There's a game engine called Godot. That's how they pronounce it. Go to godot.org, download it, pick a Udemy course for Godot, and really, really make a Flappy Bird clone. It doesn't get more basic than that, and you're going to learn quite a lot. about the systems in there. Over the period of time, increase your skill set and do not attempt to get into 3D game development on your day one. Spend some
Okay.
time writing core game logics out there. A card game would be a very good example. Try making some card game, try making some Pokemon card games, or try making some Duel Masters card game, or uh, try making after Flappy Bird. You can actually think about making, how about a Mario clone, how about a Contra clone, how about a Ludo clone. Like even before Flappy Bird, you could go ahead with, how about a board game. Once you have rinse repeated multiple times on this area, then you would be having your taste developed for this thing. And by its very nature, if you are interested into video game development, then I'm sure you are also interested into playing video games, because if you don't like playing video games, I don't see why you would ever be interested in video game development
Makes
out
sense.
there. So
Yeah.
once you have done your fair share on the 2D versions of this thing, then starts the challenging part. Remember from memory or recall or boot up your favorite game and look at the level, a particular stage which you really liked. For me, one such example happens to be the initial areas of a video game called Dark Souls by From Software. Recreate it as good as you can. By the
Okay.
time you arrive there, you would have figured something out actually, where you want to go next from there. Because the fundamental aspects of graphics development, game logic parsing, how to move enemy players, we call it AI in game development, although there is no such thing as AI there. This is some clever logic going on out there. Maybe you like NFS a lot, then hey, how about making a 2D car racer like Road Rash or something like that out there? So by the time you are out to the 3D part, you're already will be, carving out a niche for your learning, and you would be having a pretty good idea what to do next from there.
Right.
That's what I would recommend. That's how I got started in there, and at this point of time, I'm working on something in here, and pretty soon, most probably by in 2 or 3 months, I should be having something which I would actually put out on itch.io or on Steam for free download, where you guys can download it. It will be a horror exploration thing, actually.
Definitely. Best of luck for the game development and
Thanks, man.
publishing it. I'm pretty sure the viewers will
Oh, it's
also.
a it's a very far away. Like at some point of time, like I would like to make my own startup or something. So I have this unreasonable dream of making the first AAA game studio in this country. So that's it.